Well, this is slightly unfortunate. I noticed things were getting much, much louder around me, but I was just trying to ignore them. But yeah, what is that buzzing? Anyway, the loudness was growing and growing, and then I got like just a cramp in my calf, so I just had to hop to my feet, because as long as I stand up and put pressure on my legs, then my cramps go away. But yeah, hop to my feet, hop, I'm up, and now it's definitely getting to be daylight outside. I'm looking out my window now and seeing the fucking day. Ooh, nice smoggy China morning. Yeah, unfortunately, it's I was hoping to just sleep till like 8 o'clock. It's only a little after 5. It's only quarter after 5, but I'm afraid the vibe has just changed around here. My compatriot who was sleeping next to me, he's gone. Yeah, there's no more sign of sleeping people. They're already all up at 5. So, not the worst, because I did started this whole sleep plan pretty fucking early. All things considered, I guess I got about as much sleep as I was going to be able to get. But I had hoped for more. But yeah, all in all, man, I don't know. Could be worse. Could be worse. It's just going to be a long day now where like 3 hours till I can check in, and then 3 more hours till the flight. Ironically, being in business class, I won't really be able to sleep on the flight. They're going to be fucking hassling me with baubles and trinkets and jewels the whole time. Yeah, I tend to find in situations like this, like, you never really have restful sleep. You just kind of maintain whatever you are at. But yeah, it could be a lot worse. I don't know. That could be quite a bit worse. Not the best sleep I ever had, but undeniably sleep. I was for sure unconscious for decent stretches of time throughout the night. I think that's all you can ask for when you're sleeping in some weird-ass airport that is not the beautiful, luxurious, soft, inviting Calgary airport. Alright, I'm back to my proper recorder. Now you get the full grandeur of the reverby concourse. I do kind of wonder why airports are always like this. Like, it's impressive. A great, big, huge room to walk around in. But if I had to guess, 5:30 in the morning, sleeping on the floor, I think nowadays this is just what's done, This is just how other airports are. So now it's like, well, we can't be the airport where you have low ceilings and you walk through little corridors. We got to have a big grand airport just like everyone else has. But I'm guessing back in the day, it was probably just related to like a literal aircraft hangar. You needed great big ass room to put your airplanes in. And then if you're a passenger, you're walking around said great big fucking giant ass room. And now that the terminal is a separate building, again, this is all just, I don't know, conjecture. I don't know if back in the day, if it was all one and now it's split up, but it would make sense, right? If you only got a plane or two, you're going to have a much smaller structure and it's still going to have to be big for the planes. But now, airports are giant fucking mini cities. So yeah, there's no planes coming in here. But I assume the design is based on back in the day when a plane maybe would have been in here. That's my guess. But yeah, now I'm just gonna, before I didn't want to talk into this recorder because I don't know, I was feeling the weight of China pushing down all around me. The surveillance and the security and the creepiness, and I've seen so many security officers and police today walking around this thing at all hours of the night. I just didn't want to look suspicious and weird. But now I'm like, whatever. Now I'm on the home stretch. I'm on my way out of here. What are they going to do? Deport me? Please do. Please fucking do. But anyway, I guess it's breakfast time. I'm not really especially hungry, but maybe I'll go get a little something since I won't actually be on my airplane for some time. Quite a lot of foreigners in here, I've noticed. A lot of very tall people. I've noticed several just this morning, several white guys taller than me, and I'm 6'2". So it's like, apparently if you're a tall white guy, you come through China. But yeah, I did go to the Family Mart last night. I stopped by the Tim Hortons, and it's just not evident what to order. It's just not clear. And there's a McDonald's, and the same thing. This is why one reason why I never went to McDonald's in Japan, even just to try it, is because without the touchscreen menu, it's surprisingly hard to order stuff. And there's like not a number for a combo. You can't just point to a number. Like I would have to go in McDonald's, for example, and say Big Mac Cossetto. And hopefully someone understands what I'm talking about. Same thing at this Tim Hortons. Just because I'm a Tim Hortons master back home, that doesn't mean anything here. I'm looking at this menu and there's nothing in English on it, and I'm just like, whatever, fuck off. I don't want to deal with this. And the McDonald's here, same thing. I'm not going to go talk to a person to try to fight my way through McDonald's. Give me a number. Just give me a number I can point to. But I did go to the little Family Mart, and right away, it's way more reminiscent of a Japanese convenience store. I felt way more comfortable in that sense than in the Korean convenience stores. I effortlessly just found stuff like, oh, this, and this, neat. And I don't know, I guess I'm always worried my credit card isn't going to work, but I guess now that I think about it, it's quite rare that it doesn't work. Maybe the last time it didn't work, or like didn't work, quote unquote, you know, where I had to call up the bank and all this bullshit, was Peach Air when I was going to Fukuoka. That was some time ago. Maybe I should just, I guess, be presuming at this point that my credit card's going to work. Because I kind of wanted to just get tons of stuff. Just get a big whack of stuff if I was going to break out this credit card at this Family Mart. But just because I wasn't sure if it would work, and I didn't want it to be awkward if I had a big pile of items I couldn't pay for. So I just got like 3 little things. Like a kind of fish and egg, old school onigiri thingy. And some mixed nuts, and just a random white drink that I'm like, maybe it's yogurt, maybe it's whatever, it's just milk, that's fine. I have no idea what it cost, because the money doesn't conveniently line up anymore. It was so convenient, where with Canadian prices, 100 yen is about $1, and 1,000 won is about $1. Easy to do the conversion. Where here, I don't know. It was like just some random amount. But my dumb little card worked, so I could go back to Family Mart and get some breakfast. I don't know though, I'm really not... I'm sure, well, I'll just give it a little time. I'll give it a little time and I'll get hungry. But this lines up with where I left off in the story of the Fancy Pants Hotel in Busan. Where, yeah, I woke up at like 7:30 in the morning, and from 7 to 9 was breakfast time on floor number 2. I was the suite on floor 8. So I went down to floor number 2 and went into the breakfast thing, and there was like, you know, a smattering, 6 or 7 people in there having breakfast. I was still feeling very rattled and agitated and anxious and uncomfortable, but it's like, whatever, just sally forth. I mean, I'm going to feel weird in the best of times and just, you know, a room full of Korean folk having breakfast. So just whatever, just do it. And it was like a basic breakfast buffet type thing, I guess. You just, you know, grab a bowl, grab a plate, grab some stuff. And it was a lot of the sort of basic stuff. I got some toast and some orange juice and some yogurt with, you know, fruit and nuts and stuff in it. They did have cereal and stuff. But the main thing was they did have like a chef lady. So I got scrambled eggs, and then I just basically took a bit of everything, except she did make like a curry thing that was probably delicious, but with traveling and sweating and not having a shower for 2 days. I just didn't want to eat curry. Curry gets on the breath, curry gets in the sweat, curry just makes you smell like curry. So I was like, nah, I'll skip on the curry. But other than that, there was like a spicy beef and noodle thing. There was, a bunch of sides, of course. So there was like 4 main items and 4 sides. So yeah, the big items were the curry that I skipped, but then the spicy pork and noodles. Geez, what even was the stuff now? It's already slipping away. It was just yesterday that I had this stuff. It was like some seasonal greens, it was called. They were just like some collard green type things that were all spicy and very tasty. Man, what was the other thing? I don't even remember. All this stuff that was generally, all just spicy but delicious. And then for the sides, it was like kimchi, of course, and some like beans and just, I don't know. I mean, it was just generally, I guess, it was just generally spicy vegetables with a little meat thrown in and some noodles here and there and eggs. Anyway, it was fucking really goddamn good. Because I guess I've had good luck in Busan with food because I had like the homemade kimchi and stuff in the share house. And then here, yeah, like this is a step up. This is like a full-on chef lady making stuff. And I actually got way too much, way too much stuff. Even though I only took a bit of everything, I did take a bit of everything. So it was like pile up on my plate. And yeah, I just sat there, yum, yum, yum. And there was like a family there. And I was thinking, like, my interpretation of this hotel was that it's like the businessman's affair hotel. Because I had the suite with the jacuzzi tub and the machine that presses your suit and dry cleans it. But I'm sure the normal rooms are just normal rooms. And at like $90 for a room, especially if you can cram your family in there, or maybe it's a slightly more expensive like double bedroom or something. But then if everybody goes down and has this breakfast in the morning, it was like a super legit restaurant level breakfast. It was so fucking good. Like it was a breakfast I would have paid $20 for easy. So if you had a family and all 4 of you are having your breakfast and you stayed at the hotel, like I bet it all adds up to actually be a pretty good deal. And it's right by the airport, like a literal 20-minute walk from the airport, or one stop. It's one stop on the train to the airport. And they have a shuttle as well if you want to do that. So yeah, it was cool that I got to go to the super fancy suite for a bit of a deal. But I think even if you just went there on the normal, it really is just like being by yourself does make the economics of traveling a little tougher. Once you start compounding it with a family of 4, it's like, yeah, this is actually a great deal. This would be a great place to stay. Super delicious breakfast anyway. Just thinking about it is making me feel more hungry. Super good. And then, yeah, from there, I had my nervous poops for a while. Finally got everything all set to go. And yeah, this is where the little bit of extra money that I had on my T-Money card just kept coming in handy. I keep finding little reasons that I need that extra $5 or $6 that was on there. Because I did not arrange for a hotel shuttle because I didn't know what time exactly I'd be going. Went down to the front desk. There was no one manning it at that moment, but just left my key card. And yeah, just went across the street to the train station. There was an Adia coffee across the street from there too. That would have been sweet to have a final Adia for the road, but I didn't do that. And then yeah, it's a little weird because I don't know what's on my T-Money card. But I presume there'd be enough for one stop on the subway. And there was. So I just went the one stop to the fucking airport. And then it was finally time for my reckoning with the immigration office. So yeah, I'm heading down the escalator toward the Family Mart. So perhaps I'll go get some breakfast. And then we're almost ready to wrap this story up. We're almost back to the present. Oh, that's one thing. So this lady's voice on the escalator here, you can very clearly tell it's a Chinese speaker speaking the English. Pretty heavily accented. Whereas at the airport in Busan, I kept hearing this one, they obviously had somebody just record voices. Oh, that's a separate thing. But on the bus, the Jeju bus, the airport shuttle, the English voice definitely said Lot Hotel. And that's been a thing where I thought, when I found like the ice cream in Japan and stuff, I just thought Lotte was Lot. And then I could have swore the guy I met at Halasan who gave me a ride to the subway called it Lot Tower. But then I saw somewhere on YouTube or whatever that it's pronounced Lotte. And everywhere I've checked does seem to confirm that pretty much in any language around these parts, whether it be Japanese or Korean or whatever, they all seem to say Lotte. But I could have swore this lady's voice on the bus said Lot. And it made me think like maybe they just gave this lady stuff to record and she just said it that way. And everybody was like, that's fine. She's an English speaker. She knows what she's doing. I don't know. It's weird though, right to the bitter end. It's like, how in God's name do you say this fucking word? Come on. But yeah, there's this pre-recorded voice in the airport in Busan of some lady who is like just slightly Texan. Like it's one of those things that I'm sure whoever arranged all these recordings and stuff in South Korea, they don't know regional accents. They just know, okay, we hired an English lady. She's speaking the English. Great. But you could really hear her Texan accent come out, or Southern in general, whenever she would say Gimpo. Come to gate A for Gimpo International Airport. Gimpo. I heard this fucking lady say Gimpo like 8 fucking times throughout the day. And every time it just like cut through the air. Now taking passengers for Gimpo. Why, bless your little heart. You going to Gimpo? Get on down here. We're going to Gimpo. Fucking Texas fuck. Sorry, I don't know what that means. I like that accent, actually. It's just early in the morning and my brain's not working. All right, there's Family Mart. I'm going to go to Family Mart. So yeah, I'm not too sure how interrelated mainland China and Taiwan are, but I got to assume to a pretty good degree. Like I'm quite sure Taiwan has its own money, right? But I think the numbers, I don't know. I did a little quick research about how the money works, and like I said, it just doesn't line up conveniently to the Canadian dollar. But like here, for instance, at this Family Mart, a little bottle of coffee was $19. I know it's not dollars. It's just whatever. Whatever the Chinese money is, I don't fucking know. But to my North American brain, it looks like $19. So it's like, I mean, that's kind of funny. It's clearly not $19, but I'm sure I'll sort it out as time goes on. But yeah, the Family Mart situation is just so much easier than a GS25, say, where I just got like just a nice little bread with some cream and some grape jelly paste stuff. Just a nice simple little tasty breakfasty thing. Everything was just generally nice and good and like fun convenience store stuff. But I'm actually super impressed because that's also a reason why I decided to go to Taiwan. It's literally just because I just need to go somewhere, It's like I can't stay in Korea, got to go somewhere else. I just saw somebody mention that there's 7-Elevens on every corner in Taipei, and I'm like, hey, good enough. It was a theoretically cheap flight, and I'll just see how the convenience stores are. I'll start from there, and then I'll inadvertently learn about the place. Because yeah, as I've said many times, 7-Eleven in North America versus 7-Eleven in Japan versus 7-Eleven in Korea, it is 3 different animals. It's very different stores. So hopefully, this Chinese Family Mart is a harbinger of things to come in Taiwan. Because the one thing with Japanese stuff is it's quite remarkable that everybody keeps their weight under control because everything is so sweet in Japan. Most things, just your average thing that you buy is probably going to be sweet as fuck. So I got like a matcha thing here that was like a chocolate cake with matcha cream inside, like a big swirl of matcha cream. And it's the least sweetened matcha flavoring I've ever seen on anything. Besides back when I had a coffee shop job in Vancouver where we had raw matcha powder, if you just didn't add sugar, then you get full blast matcha. This wasn't quite that much because full-on matcha is very bitter. But for a confectionery that you buy from a Family Mart, I could not believe how bitter and coffee-ish this matcha was, which goes so well with chocolate cake. It was fucking delicious. It was better than Japan. The Japan version of this, it would have been sweet matcha inside. So I was like, holy shit, that was so good. And I bought 2 coffees, maybe not the best idea, but it is very early in the morning. I just got to make sure I pee it all out before my flight, but I should be able to, I got time. One of them was Never Coffee, which is just kind of funny. It's like, of all the names in the world, why'd you pick the one that contradicts the very item? Never Coffee? I mean, it is coffee. It's always coffee. You literally couldn't have a more counterintuitive, strange name. But it was okay, just average little coffee. But then this other one I got, Seesaw Coffee, cold brew. Oh, it's Shiny Meadow Cross Seesaw Coffee. Somehow it's a coffee collaboration. But anyway, this shit, I wonder, okay, it's 100% Seesaw. I can't read the stuff, I can just see the symbols. 100% Seesaw coffee bean. And then the other thing is presumably Seesaw with like a drip, 100% of something else. I don't fucking know. Also, I could have swore I downloaded the simplified Chinese on my Google Translate, but I tried to translate something yesterday and it didn't work. Apparently the download didn't go through or something, and now I can't connect to the internet. So anyway, I can't read what's on this bottle. The point is, this coffee is so fucking delicious. Shiny Meadow Cross Seesaw Coffee Cold Brew. It's the coffee of my dreams because it is coffee and milk or cream or whatever. Like, it's quite a light coffee, but it's not sweetened. It's like not only bitter, it's like kind of harshly bitter, like a dark roast. And it's just fucking delicious, Like, I was always saying that in Japan. Like, man, in Japan, there's no option. Either you drink your coffee full black or you drink your coffee, I like my sugar with coffee and cream, I just 2 items back to back where I was like, this is delightfully unsweetened. I love it. I love this matcha cake, and I double love this coffee. So fucking thumbs up, Chinese version of Family Mart. You are knocking it out of the park. It's worth $19 to buy this coffee. Which again, I gotta assume that's like $3, right? Or maybe less, I don't know. But yeah, see, things aren't all bad. In fact, everything is kind of feeling a lot better this morning. The airport's a lot less crowded. I haven't had to get all my fingerprints taken. I'm just kind of here. I just woke up and I'm here. The security is a distant memory from yesterday. Now it just sort of seems like, okay, this is just all right. I guess this is fine. And then, yeah, just not only am I back to just being able to go to the convenience store and just casually poke around and find fun, cool stuff, but I just had 2 things, one after the other, that are both noticeably, distinctly better than their Japanese counterpart. It's like the flip-flop. The flip-flop of going to Korea where everything in the convenience store is annoying in some fucking way. I didn't think it was really possible to top Japan in the convenience store game. And I mean, I'm not saying it will do that overall. There's just so much variety and stuff available in Japanese convenience stores. Like, this is a little teeny convenience store, very small. Maybe that's just because it's in an airport, or maybe it's going to be that way because Korean convenience stores are also quite small. So the thing in Japan where you can just kind of just go to the convenience store and just have full meals there and stuff, maybe that won't happen. But as far as just little snacky items to pick away at, I'm just wildly impressed. It's like, I mean, it's the most natural thing in the world, right? To not over-sweeten matcha. Why are you buying matcha if you don't want it to taste like matcha? But Japan doesn't fucking think that. That's for goddamn sure. So there we go. There's a big thumbs up. Again, I'm just the shallowest man. It's like, yeah, okay, you clearly live in a surveillance-heavy police state where the internet is mega regulated and you can't go anywhere without offering them a fucking model of your DNA. But the junk food at the convenience store is pretty fucking nice. Been just taking the opportunity while the airport is still relatively unbusy to charge up my phones. There's this charging station where there's not that many people here because I got to use 2 charging stations, 2 USBs to charge my 2 phones. But it's all right. There's open spaces. I don't feel like a big dick for doing that. And it's not going to take that long. 10 minutes or so. I should be all charged up. But it's kind of neat to just stand in one place and just look around the concourse. There's that weird buzz again. I don't know if that's coming through on the recorder, but apologies if it is. There's the old Chinese flag. You know, that's one thing I did notice in South Korea is I really like the South Korean flag. There's not that many flags of the world that really stand out to me. I don't actually care for the Canadian flag that much. The big maple leaf, I feel that's a little silly. The Japanese flag's okay. America, I mean, it's a classic, you know, especially if you see a trampled, dirty, tattered American flag, like in Red Dead Redemption or something. It's like, yeah, man, you know, the rugged America. It's kind of cool. But yeah, the South Korean flag, it just looks really cool. It looks like an emblem from a video game. It looks like an Overwatch fucking, you know, skin or something. But yeah, just standing here, looking around from this one perspective, I just noticed a little thing I would have not noticed otherwise. There is a lot more bad English here, way more. You know, I was saying when I was in Japan that's, you know, that was a big thing back in the 90s especially. Like, oh, look at the hilarious English translations. But there wasn't too much of that in Japan these days, and a little bit in Korea, but not a ton. Just being in China for one night, I've noticed just a bunch. I bet it's all over the place. Maybe it's a reticence to use English speakers, you know? Maybe they're like, in-house, we'll do it here. But this one, man, it's like, at first I thought it was kind of funny, but it's actually kind of a bummer because it's such a beautiful picture. It's this big banner. I don't even know if it's real or if it's like an LCD screen. I think it might be a screen. There are some massive screens here. But this one's not changing. I don't know, but I can see the same banner down the concourse. So anyway, I don't think it's permanent. It probably is an LCD. But let me just walk up. Let me take a close look. Oh no, this one is a permanent picture, a permanent banner. But it's this beautiful painting, or, you know, a print of, it's like orange with the sun in the background and some mountains and some trees and mountains in the background. Kind of, you know, just imagine a sunset in Mulan. You know, that's what it looks like. But it's this curvy, twisty dragon sailing through the sky. And it's just beautiful. It's gorgeous. But then the words at the bottom, there's the Chinese lettering, and then under in English it says, Dragon's Journey, wide and free. So close, because you know, like phonetically, especially if you're a Chinese speaker, when you hear someone say wild and free, yeah, if there's any sound you're not hearing, it's the L, right? The L and the R. So I'm sure that's just phonetically how they hear that phrase, wild and free. They think it's wide and free. And that's what they wrote. Dragon's Journey, wide and free. And it's like, oh man, you just took this beautiful, gorgeous painting of a dragon and you made it stupid. And he's not wide. He's a skinny, long, cool, ancient dragon. He's not a big, fat dragon, but that's what the symbol suggests. Wide and free. Anyway. Doesn't actually matter just because I'm standing here. Oh, well, here's even just behind me. Attention security, no climbing. Caution drop down. Because, yeah, we're on the 3rd floor, and if I climbed over this little glass railing, yeah, caution drop down is right. 3 stories, I'd break my legs for sure, maybe die. So, I know what caution drop down means. It means, long fall, dangerous height. Many ways you could put this. Caution drop down is a little inelegant, but I don't know. Again, that's just a security warning. Who cares? It gets the message across. It's just so weird to make this amazing, cool painting and nobody knew that wide and free is wrong. That being said, though, based on the Family Mart alone, the 2 employees I talked to both had excellent English, so I was getting the sense that the English level is maybe pretty high in China, because obviously at the airport you want to aim for that more so, but I wouldn't say that is necessarily the vibe I got in Korea or Japan. Wide and free, I don't know, it's just so weird because it's so close. But there's no way, if you just ran that through Google Translate, it wouldn't give you that. That's what I guess is weird about it. This seems like it was a handmade mistake. If you just ran it through Google Translate, which is I guess how a lot of these problems happen, but in this case it would have worked better. Getting someone to go in by hand and type out what they hear, it failed, didn't work. Anyway, whatever. It's not funny enough to be funny. It's not tragic enough to be tragic. It's just a little thing that I saw while I was standing here. Man, this is the weirdest thing. So, time's coming up. I got less than 10 minutes before I can theoretically go check in for this flight. But it occurred to me about an hour ago, a little less. I'm like, oh man, what if there is a problem though? What if I don't just hand them my passport and everything works out? What if it's one of these cases like with China Eastern Air, which it turns out that was because my flight functionally didn't exist. But what if there's a problem and I need to go into Expedia and I need to get my information, or I have to try to call them on Skype? I don't have internet. And the reason that happened, by the way, is you either need a phone number to confirm, and I don't have a phone number, or you literally need to take a picture of your passport, but you have to do it through the sign-in app of the stupid fucking airport, which doesn't work. It failed on both of my phones. Then it said you can copy this link and try it again through a browser. That did work on one of my phones, but then it forgot English. It switched over, and I tried to do a translate and it didn't work, because I guess, again, I think maybe it would have worked, but for some reason, I swear I downloaded the simplified Chinese for Google Translate. I fucking swear I did, and I don't have it. So then I managed to take a blurry picture of my passport with my phone with a really bad camera, because it's the only one that would get that far in the process. And then I'm pressing buttons, and I think I pressed the right one, but then it just hung on a loading screen. Boo. But that idea got in my head. What if something goes wrong? Now I got to try to find a phone. Maybe they'll help me at the desk. Maybe I got to go to the help desk and see about internet. My mind just starts racing through all the fucking problems this will cause if anything goes wrong. And then the stress started to set in. But it still felt like stress behind an atmosphere. Like I had a bit of a block protecting me. But over the course of the last hour, it's just gotten worse and worse and worse. And now my body has no chill. I was, 2 days ago, hyper nervous. Yesterday, fine. Today, fine, until I had this thought, and now I'm coming up to having to go to deal with the ticket counter and then go through the final checks. And now I'm nervous as shit again, which is the right word to say, because now I'm doing the nervous poops again, which I'm sure if your body doesn't do this must sound like the weirdest thing. But yeah, I just went to 3 washrooms, just one washroom, take a poop, another washroom, take a poop. And it is like I'm actually pooping a bit each time. So I'm thinking maybe it's because once the anxiety hits and I feel this twist in my gut, maybe it literally is just all my muscles are flexed in there. All my organs are flexed. I know that's not literally what happens, but something's contracting in there and it's just not stopping. So it's not only pushing the poop, but maybe making it so I can't normally poop. I'm pooping part way, and then it seems like I'm done, but as soon as I get up and walk around, it's still contracting and pushing, and I gotta go poop again. It's ridiculous. But yeah, it's incredible. I went from wow, I can't believe, it's just so weird. How could I be so stressed out 2 days ago, and then yesterday, going through objectively more stressful things, showing up in China and all this fucking weird security and having to sleep overnight at the airport, but feel pretty okay. It's like, man, how weird. It's just like, it hardly makes sense. I mean, it sort of makes sense. I can kind of unravel it a bit, but a lot of it's just up to fate. How is my body going to feel? But then today everything felt fine till an hour ago, and now I'm all torqued up again, and it's like, it's like crazy, man. It fucking blows. Ugh. Anyway, yeah, it's mere minutes to go check in now, so I guess I'll just go do that. At least since I know, now I realize I'm business class. I don't know, maybe that'll help? I mean, probably it'll be fine. But, oh, yeah, the uncertainty. I hate it so fucking much. I mean, I like traveling overall. I like going places and doing stuff. But, man, when it's stressful, it's just the worst. And it's, like, weird because I'm old enough at this point. Oh, which, speaking of, I should take off my hat. Let them see the little bit of gray poking out at my temples because I haven't shaved my head lately. Maybe that helps, too. Makes me seem like a more respectable gentleman. This makes a lot of sense why I didn't do international traveling when I was a younger man. I just wouldn't have been able to. The stress would have eaten me alive. So I'm better at it now, but it's not going to get better than this. This is as good as it's going to get. And it's like, fuck, man, that's such a downer. Like, surely all this stuff will be easier next time. If I ever come through this cursed airport again, it'll be easier the second time. If I ever have a flight canceled at the last second due to inclement weather, surely it'll be easier next time, but maybe not. I can't predict what my body is going to do. What am I supposed to fucking do about this? It just happens. It's just how it is. Ugh. Anyway, I just thought I'd report because I think that's a bit interesting. I don't know. Everything was terrible, then everything was fine, and all of a sudden it's ratcheting up to terrible again. But if this all goes smoothly and I just go get my ticket and go through security, then maybe everything will just become fine again. Anyway, I'm staring at one of these dragon posters. Dragon's Journey, wide and free. Wish me luck, dragon. Ugh, god damn. I mean, I don't know how. I don't know. Maybe this is why so many people smoke weed. My dad smoked weed every day of his life, for decades. This is probably why. I'm made of the same stock as him. Anxiety fucking sucks, man. Fucking sucks. Obviously, it's the whole point. Is to be anxious. Anyway, all right, I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to go do the thing now. So, yeah, definitely. I mean, I guess it went smooth enough, but like the first guy, because it's this weird thing where I'm like, what was the name of the fucking company? Again, I just booked whatever, the one sequence of flights that was available from Jeju on mega short notice. Uni Airways, but operated by Air China. So there was nothing for Uni Airways, but I found Air China, and the guy was like, I don't know, is this us? But he took my passport over and checked stuff, and then it was me. And the lady had minor problems, but then sorted stuff out. Turns out there's a whole page, so on my passport, there's a page for 90 days in Japan, there's a page for 6 months in South Korea, and there's a whole page for 1 overnight in this dumbass airport. And it's not even on the next page. He skipped a page. What a dickhead. I mean, it's not like I'm going to fill out my whole passport, but it is a 10-year passport. I don't know. There's only so many pages. Why would you skip a page? Why would you need a whole page for that, for an overnight in the airport? It's just, I don't know. But anyway, this is something, too, that hasn't come to mind in years. I didn't even think about this. The lady asked if I had an exit planned from Taiwan, and I was like, no, I don't have anything booked yet. Because basically I'd heard that when I first went to Japan in 2019 that they might ask for an exit ticket. So before I even got to Japan, I had booked a pretty cheap, like $200 flight from Japan to Seoul, just so I'd have an exit ticket. You know, I didn't really know what my plan was at that point, but just so I could show them that if I had to. But then nobody ever asked. And then because I had problems with my passport and my bank card, on that trip. I ended up just going back to Canada after Japan. I didn't go anywhere else. So that ticket was just lost. That's one of those cases if you're ever at the airport and you hear them just calling someone's name 3 or 4 times and that person never shows up. And if you ever wonder what happened, so I was that person that day because it was a non-refundable flight and stuff. I couldn't do anything with it. I just wasn't there to be on that flight. So I'm sure they called last call for passenger Keith McNally a few times. But yeah, since nobody ever asked, that just left my mind. So this time I didn't have an exit ticket from Japan. And when I got to Korea, I didn't have an exit ticket from Korea. And I guess, yeah, I'm just sliding over into the more strict side of the world where the lady was like, in Taiwan, they might not give you a visitor visa if you don't have an exit ticket. So I was like, oh, okay, good to know, thank you. And this would be the perfect time. I've got some time to kill while I wait for my flight to board. If only I could get on the internet. This would be the perfect time. I could go on. The best thing would be if I could just use my China Eastern Air credit. And it's weird, though, to have to plan out ahead of time. I'm like, God damn it, I don't know. I don't fucking know. But I guess at this point, I'll just buy a ticket back to Japan. You know, it's a little weird to go back to Japan in a way because, like, it hasn't been a year. This would be my second trip within a year. But it seems like theoretically that should be okay. I don't know. I guess I'll just buy the flight to Japan and I'll only book the first bit of a stay just to make sure everything's okay. And then once I'm in, then I'll book everything else. I guess. I don't know. Again, I'd rather not have to make the choice now, but whatever. I guess that's fine. And if I could use the China Eastern Air credits, that would be great, but I have no idea. I don't know what the fuck that airline is or where it goes. Maybe I won't be able to use them at all, whatever. But of course, I can't get on the goddamn internet here. Their stupid system is so shit. It's so shit. It just literally doesn't work. But I didn't try it on my laptop yet, so I logged onto the laptop, but it doesn't even have the take a picture of your passport option. It only has please input your phone number, and then they send you a code. And there's also a Wi-Fi here for some kind of coffee shop, but the coffee shop has also some kind of code thing, blue bottle coffee. Let's see, what does it say? It seemed pretty hardcore. It seemed more involved than just buying a coffee and asking for the Wi-Fi password, because of course it's goddamn China. They got to be all locked down and insane about everything. But there's also a thing here, Wi-Fi kiosk. Yeah, see, it won't even connect at all now, so I have no fucking idea what the coffee thing was that connected earlier, but whatever, who cares? Something about find a Wi-Fi password kiosk, input your username, input your password, so I assume this is a thing where maybe you can buy time for Wi-Fi, possibly? I mean, maybe I'll go wander around and try to figure out what that is, but I'm sure the process to buy time is probably just as crazy. But I mean, maybe it would actually be possible at least. But also, I guess I gotta go find out what's going on with this flight because I thought the flight wasn't leaving till like 1:30. But it says here the boarding time is 10:45 and it's 9:15 now. So that's not actually that much time. And random buzzing and construction. Good time to stop yammering. But anyway, so yeah, I don't know. I don't know what'll happen on the Taipei side. Maybe the flight will have Wi-Fi, but the Korea one didn't, so I highly doubt that the China-based one will. Air China. What are the chances? Approximately 0. I don't know what'll happen again. Maybe they just won't care. Man, yeah, I finally got to my gate. And I've got like an hour till boarding starts, but that's, again, not really that much considering this was not a transfer or anything. This was me waking up hours before, in the airport. And then going to the check-in counter as soon as they opened for this flight, which was 3 hours before, and then just going through all the BS. Ate up 2 hours somehow. I only have 1 hour left. And this is the best case scenario. This is as good as it can get. Yikes. Make sure you got lots of time for transfers everywhere, but I guess with an airport in China, it's especially important. Anyway, let's just wrap this up. I'm tired of hearing myself talk. It just goes on and on. I hope this podcast gets across the feeling of the endless days of traveling through airports and stuff in the way that this meandering nonsense will never stop. Just to finish up the earlier tale. So after my stay in the cool fancy hotel in Busan, I got to the airport many hours before my flight, found out where the immigration office was, and basically, it went pretty well. The nuts and the bolts of it are, at least from a Canadian perspective, that I should have gone to see a person in the immigration office in Jeju to get a one-day extension, and then I would have a spotless record. As it is, I got a warning. And basically she said, if you get more than one warning, that's trouble, blah, blah, blah. There is a reason for that's not written in English, but I hope she wrote typhoon, I did have a good fucking reason if people are looking in the future for, because she mentioned I have an otherwise spotless record, which is a little surprising because I've actually had shenanigans at the US border several times. Story for another day, I guess. But yeah, I don't know if that stuff expires or they just never put it on my record at all because it was so minor. I have no idea. But anyway, there's this warning now, but hopefully it says why. It's still a good reason for a warning, and it's only one day. But yeah, apparently it's up to 10 days is just the warning. It's kind of not that big a deal the first time, as long as you don't do it twice. And yeah, again, I can't really see it happening twice because I suppose if there's another flight cancellation on the last day of my visa because of weather, but also it's so late in the day that the immigration office is already closed. That's the only way. Now that I know, every airport has an immigration office, just go find it. Deal with it before expiry. Really no biggie, but even as it is, not really that big of a deal. Just had to fill out some stuff and take a form with me when I went to get my ticket and check through and everything. And then the final security person to release me from Korea kept that little form. Oh, I did try to do, I don't know, just for the hell of it, I tried to do the self-check-in, but yeah, it was like, nope, no self-check-in for you, my friend. You got to go talk to a person. And I guess that's it. That's what I learned about immigration stuff. Try to deal with it before it passes, but if you're from a country in good standing, you got 10 days you could fuck around, and it's not that big a deal, I guess. The first time, just a warning, no fines, no fucking bannings, none of that stuff. Obviously there's more to happen today, but it certainly doesn't seem fun or exciting in any way. It'll just be that I do not have an exit ticket from Taiwan, so I guess we'll see how that process works. Surely I can't be the only person in the world who's faced this situation. Optimally they'd just go, hey, Canada. In fact, that's what happened one of the times with my America shenanigans. I was on a cruise that technically went to Mexico, but just the cruise version of going to Mexico. And it was while I had a visitor visa to America that I had applied for an extension, but I hadn't gotten it yet. But I did have the paperwork saying it was in processing, but technically I left America and was coming back in due to this cruise. And I was stressed out about it, of course, because what the hell's going to happen? And those people, the Americans have been good to me as far as the border goes. They literally said, you're Canadian, you're harmless. And I thought that was funny. But it's fucking true. Leave Canadians alone. Let Canadians come to your country, dude. We're Canadians. Christ. But anyway, again, I don't know if I do just have to buy a ticket, because that was my plan, is for an exit ticket, I don't know, let's tool around with these credits and try to use them. If I have to buy a ticket immediately, that is not happening. This trip is getting a little long in the tooth, man. But once all this is sorted out, maybe I'll just flip-flop right around and everything will be joyful again. I guess we'll see. If you ever start your own country, it's to your benefit to relax. In fact, I just saw a video today. There's this YouTuber, average 32-year-old man from Korea, which by the time this episode comes out, he'll probably be 33. But he just makes little YouTube videos about Korean topics. He's how I found out that the birth rate in South Korea is even lower than in Japan, that it's in fact the lowest in the world. He just posted a video yesterday that I downloaded as a little MP3 when I had internet, so I was just listening to it as I walked around the airport. That was about how he's going to China. He's here right now, in fact. He's here this exact time that I'm here to visit his parents, because he's Korean, but his parents have lived in China for a couple of years and he's never been. And it was about why he's never been, and it's because Korea is also one of these countries like Canada where it's all good, you know, one of the top 20 passports, and just you can go to like 190 countries with no issues, and it's just no problem. Nice, strong passport, South Korea. But not in China. In China, you got to apply for a visa ahead of time, and it's, I don't know if it's different for each country, but it's quite stringent if you're coming from South Korea. And he said it was easier for him because his parents have already done it, but that's the whole reason. It's like he's been to 15 countries in his life, but never to China, because why would you fucking bother? Why would you go through all these hoops, and why would you do all these contortions when you could just go anywhere else on the earth? You can go to so many other countries. And yeah, I certainly feel that way. I cannot imagine ever coming to China to visit, ever. Why the fuck would I? You know, it would have to be a similar situation if I somehow had family or something that moved here. It's the only reason. There's no need for all this. There's no reason to put up with all this red tape and bureaucracy, all this ridiculous security. Again, I'll get into it if I do an episode about Russia. But it's like if you think of a country as a person, you know, if a country has a personality, you know, you could say that like Canada is nice but passive aggressive. You could say America is bold but, you know, the braggadocious covering up a actual lack of self-esteem. And then in the case of like Russia and China, it's like, I don't even know how to describe that person. Paranoid? Yeah, I mean, you know, just not somebody you want to fucking deal with, because it's just every little thing is a problem. Anyway, all right. Oh, Taiwan, you're passing with flying colors, my fucking friend. Oh, I decided just now, well, just before I left Shanghai, I'm like, man, this fucking episode of this podcast is so goddamn long. Let's split it in half, day 1 and day 2. So since it's been split in half, I think it's all right to just add some more now. Let's finish up this tale. So yeah, when we last left, the lady in Shanghai was like, oh, you really should have an exit flight from Taiwan, even though, you know, I was worried about that in Japan in 2019 and they didn't care, and then no one has cared since. America's never cared, the Netherlands has never cared, South Korea didn't care. I just assumed Taiwan wouldn't care either, but this lady put the fear of God in me. You know, that again, I'm sure there's ways to deal with it if that's what I had to do. But I couldn't get internet to save my life in fucking China. Then I got on this flight, which was all right. The business class fancy flight from Air Korea was a lot better. Sorry, China, sorry. I mean, this is okay. Oh, I guess I'm not quite done yet. I haven't gone through customs. I always forget about this. Just one moment, got to go through customs declaration stuff. Oh, I guess there was nothing to that. I just went to the nothing to declare and just walked through. Probably could have done. I would have got a weird look, but I probably could have kept podcasting while I walked through that. Whereas China, of course, had to put everyone's baggage through a fucking scanner. I don't even quite ever understand customs stuff, you know? I guess it's like you gotta pay a tariff on stuff that you bought in another country. But if you're a visitor, do you have to do that? I don't know, like I never buy stuff anywhere, so I have no idea how it works. I always see these like duty-free stores and stuff, and I'm like, I don't fucking even understand what this is on any fucking level. I don't know what all this is. But anyway, here it's nothing. This is, I was gonna say the easiest country I've ever entered into, but I guess it was easier once when I went to the Netherlands because I didn't quite know what exactly happened, but I guess just everything that needed to be checked was checked at the other end of the flight. So when we got off the flight, the whole plane of people just emptied straight out of Central Station into Amsterdam with nobody. Oh no, I'm okay, thanks. With nobody dealing with anything. Geez, even the guy trying to sell me a cab was a lot more polite. He just held up a phone with a picture of a cab on it. He didn't come harass me like in China. However, let's go stand outside. It's a little louder, but it's easier to talk to myself out here. I guess now I got to get an Easy card, the MRT card. And as an extra bonus, it seems like I can get into my Airbnb whenever I want, which is good because I am 2 days late, and I just told the guy, don't worry about it, I'll just pay for the 2 days, it's my bad. So that's nice. But yeah, basically, on the flight, the Air China flight, they sort of maybe had Wi-Fi, I guess. I guess you could use it to watch in-flight stuff, but it just didn't work right. Nothing fucking works right in China with their fucking bullshit internet, where between my two phones, on one phone, I finally managed to get through to the point. One of them had asked me for my passport number and then some code. And I didn't know what the code was, and I was considering asking a stewardess, but it just, basically after I failed entering the code, I could never even get back to the code screen. It just stopped working on that phone. And then my other phone did get far enough that it offered me an option. I don't remember the name of the service, but it's like, hey, you can search using this in China. Or would you prefer to stick with Google? Silly me, I stuck with Google. And then nothing ever worked again after that. But I guess it's good that I couldn't get internet, because I was like, I don't know, maybe I would just book a flight. My thinking was, I got the 90 days in Taiwan as a Canadian, but I was like, yeah, maybe I'd just leave earlier. I just picked my birthday as a date, September 18th. I was like, yeah, I could just book a flight on my birthday back to Japan if I have to book a flight. But I don't have to worry about that. I got exactly what I wanted, which was just open-ended flexibility. But yeah, basically, as soon as we got to the airport and landed, and we were finally out of the evil clutches of China. Apologies for all this noise, by the way, but it's just, I've had enough of talking to myself in airports. I haven't been outside in days. Once I got proper internet, I just did a little search for, do you need an exit flight from Taiwan? And found a Reddit thread. And no, you don't. It's just, especially if you come from, you know, a fancy pants country with a passport in good stead. I guess it's that if you get deported, I didn't know this, but if you get deported, the airline that flew you in is obligated to fly you out. So supposedly that's why they push this narrative, is because they don't want to get stuck flying anybody back. So they tell everybody that they need an exit flight even when you don't. One person said that he literally booked a flight, and then as soon as the person checked the box for him, he canceled it right there. And that was that. So not only is China annoying and censorious, they are liars. Man, China could not have come off worse during this little sojourn. Fuck me. Literally, the Family Mart and the delightful smell of Chinese food are the only nice things I have to say. So yeah, then I get into Taiwan, and it's like a QR code, but there's things on the QR code that I'm not sure about. I tried to choose visitor visa, like you just fill in your arrival card through this QR code. If I chose visitor visa, it wanted a number. And it said the only visa type that doesn't require a number is visa free or visa exempt. And I was like, okay, I guess I'll choose that, but I don't know, is that what they call it when you're from a friendly nation? I don't know, but it's the only option I'm allowed to choose. And with departing flight, it wouldn't let me go on until I put in a proper flight number. Everything else I figured out, you know, address of where I'm staying, flight that I came in on, my address, yada yada, all the basics. But for outbound flight, I wrote none, and it wouldn't accept that. So then I wrote NA, and it accepted that. So then when I got up to the guy, I gave him my passport and I said I did the QR code thing, because it doesn't give you any feedback on the QR code. It just says you did it, and then, it just magically gets sent ahead of you. So I was like, I did the QR code version, but I'm not totally sure if I did everything right. The guy glanced at my stuff for like 1 second, and he said, in the most American voice I've ever fucking heard, he just said, yeah, no, it's fine. I was like, all right, thank you very much. And I just walked right by, and I'm in Taiwan. And then I was like, oh wait, have I spoken too soon? The declaration of stuff, because I remember that fucked me up in Japan, that I had a second form I had to fill out about if I was declaring stuff or whatever. Again, that process I don't understand. But now here you just walk right through. Like I was saying, if a country's a person, what kind of person are you? Is this going to be a party foul situation, or are you going to be cool? And Taiwan is, I'm going to say, the coolest. Because yeah, like I said, that one time I had a mysteriously easy time getting into the Netherlands. But the first time I went to the Netherlands was a lot more bother than that. And I would never in a million years call the Dutch cool. They're only cool in the sense of being aloof and unfriendly. That's different from cool. Taiwan is cool. That was so easy and so friendly and so casual and so not a problem. After all this fucking shit, where I'm thinking like, I'm ready to just pull the plug on this whole trip. I've been out here long enough. I could just go home now. I don't want to deal with this fucking shit anymore. And in my moment of need, where I'm like, why am I even here? I don't even know why I'm in Taiwan. I don't know what I'm doing. And then it was just fucking delightful. It was just the best. It was the best. I'll never forget till the day I die. This fucking guy with his little mustache growing in just going, yeah, man, it's fine. He didn't even say it. He didn't say it that casually. It's just already becoming mythologized in my fucking memory that he was the coolest guy in the world. So calm, so cool. Kind of a deep voice. He sounded like he could have been a rapper. Yeah, it's fine. Go on in. Have a party. Party time. Taiwan. What the fuck? Man, I can really see why Taiwan does not want to get swallowed up by motherfucking China. I noticed that, by the way, in China, because I was like, if they kind of consider Taiwan their property, but the rest of the world doesn't, is Taiwan a domestic flight from China? But no, what they do is it says international/Taiwan. It's like a weird way to say like, okay, you do have to go through the international part of the airport, but it's not international like the other stuff's international. I wonder if it was like this. I mean, it must have been such a bummer when Hong Kong transferred ownership. Was it like 100 years or 99 years that it was under British rule, and then it flip-flopped back to China? Man, that must have sucked, because China fucking sucks. It just sucks. You can't even get on the goddamn internet. Everything is just, oh, you should have heard the fucking messages in that goddamn plane, man. It was extra funny because the English voiceover guy was Australian, very clearly Australian. But they obviously just told him what to say, and he said it. Because amongst all the just fucking nonsense plane rambling, one of them was, it was a female voice saying most of the stuff in Chinese, and then this Australian man translating it. Then there was a man voice on the Chinese side. And when the Australian guy came back in, he said, I am the deputy of security on board this plane. And it's like, I know you're a stand-in for someone who's probably not even there anyway, but no, you're fucking not. Aussie Jones, you are the most Australian man I've ever heard. Well, no, that's not true. He was like a posh Australian, but you are fucking not the Chinese security guy. But yeah, just this long screed about how audio and video is being recorded on this flight, and all the different stuff you could do that's illegal. Most of it's quite logical. Don't break stuff, don't fight with the staff, don't be a dick. But one of them was do not use cell phones illegally. Like, the internet must be China's greatest fucking enemy. It must be their nightmare. trying to suppress information and control people when the fucking internet is there. I can't imagine that there's a single young Chinese nerd who doesn't have a fucking VPN or some shit. Anyway, what a nice turn of events. China, I'm gonna go well out of my way to never transfer through that stupid fucking airport ever again. And again, that was just to transfer to a different flight. All of that shit. Meanwhile, Taiwan to just let me in and wander around for 90 days and just trust that I'll go home when I say I'm going to. Just nothing. Just like, yeah, go ahead, man. It's all good. Oh, exit flight, you wrote NA? Yeah, whatever. That seems fine to me. Get the fuck out of here. Go in. Get in the pool. Go jump in. Oh, man, how awesome. God damn. I really only know, well, I suppose maybe, I guess I know some people who are like second, third generation Chinese people. But I only know like a guy who still has like a Chinese accent, who grew up in China. I only know one guy quite well who fits that description. My friend Leo in Vancouver, and he did offer to take me to China with him back in like 2008, and I always kind of wondered, I wonder what that would have been like, but I went to New York instead. But yeah, we never talked about China very much, and he did make me that one offer, but I do know he did tell me, what little we talked about it, he did say he's not going back. He said, you know, there is like, even though now in Vancouver, he said like all of his friends are mainly Chinese people. He mainly speaks Chinese at work and at home. And it was me and him and my friend Vince. And like the reason he knows us is because we all worked at a coffee shop together. But we kind of became his main English speaking friends. Without working at a coffee shop, he might not even have us around, you know? But yeah, he did say like there's no need to go back, which I always kind of took as his diplomatic way of saying, yeah, no thank you. And that makes a lot of goddamn sense. Again, I've only been to the airport for one night, but what a fucking... Ugh. Yeah, may Taiwan stay free forever. Motherfucker. Yeesh. Anyway, alright, I gotta go figure out where to go buy an Easy card. Well, first I guess I gotta find an ATM. Then I gotta find an Easy card. Then I gotta figure out how to get to my Airbnb. Oh, I feel like a weight is lifted. Sorry for all the loud noise and the me yelling. Definitely different from me whispering to myself in a fucking airport. Whew, doggy. Yeah, like the rest of the world is having such a good time, man. We're just visiting each other's countries and we're not getting all worked up about shit. What the fuck is wrong with you, China? What the fuck? Anyway, yeah. Maybe it'll be next episode, but I do think this is the time to break out my old Russia story, because they're incredibly similar. Oh, anyway, awesome. Awesome. I already recommend motherfucking Taiwan. You should come visit. All right, just heading back in now, back into Terminal 2. Let's find me a fucking Easy card. If I can't figure out how to do it, I can just go on the freaking internet and look up where they sell these things in the airport. Imagine that. Imagine that. Oh, it's air conditioning in here too. Fucking nice. All right. Thank you for listening. If somehow you're a guy from China who listened to this and you're really upset, whatever, dude. Come on. Patriotism is highly overrated. That's all I have to say about that. All right, bye. Oh yeah, I almost forgot to mention, I've been walking through Taipei. I'm almost at my Airbnb and it's been great the whole way. Stay tuned for details, but it's just been cool as hell. But speaking of cool as hell, I almost forgot to mention that the way the visa guy in Shanghai, you know, having to use up a whole page of my passport for a one-day stopover. Not only that, but he skipped a page. He just left a blank page and just took up the whole next page. Here's my next page with this thing. You know, just maybe is inadvertent, but it felt dickish to me. That's how cool the Taipei guy was. He was already the coolest cat around, but he went back a page and he filled in the page that hadn't been used. Maybe that's just protocol. Maybe that's what you're supposed to do. But the way I interpret that is, yeah, it was the other guy's party foul. The other guy just being a dick. Taipei guy cleaning up the mess. Symbolically saying, everything's all right now. We're gonna put right what once went wrong.